Wealth is not built by accident. It is created through choices, systems, and how you use your limited time. Most people spend their lives following a path that trades decades of hours for the hope of freedom someday. But this book shows a different way: how to build wealth through ownership, scalable value, and systems that are not permanently chained to your personal hours. This is the Millionaire Fastlane by M.J. DeMarco, explained by Beyond the Books. Let's explore how to step off the slow lane and onto the fast lane. Wealth does not begin with money. It begins with a choice. A choice about how to spend the limited days of your life, and which game you are really playing. Most people never make this choice consciously. They wake up, scroll their phone, get dressed, and step onto a path set for them decades before they ever asked what freedom truly meant. They are told this path is safe. Follow the rules. Save steadily. Invest modestly. Wait patiently for 40 years. And one day, maybe, you'll be free. This is the path M.J. DeMarco calls the slow lane. It looks responsible. It feels normal. But if you look closer, it trades your most precious resource, time, for the hope of freedom that may never arrive. Here's the first crack in the illusion. If your income stops the moment you stop working, you are on the slow lane. It doesn't matter if you wear a suit, hold a degree, or earn six figures. If your life is chained to the hours you sell, your freedom is always conditional. Picture someone earning a high salary. They seem successful, driving a nice car, living in a stylish apartment, maybe even posting vacation photos that hint at freedom. But beneath the surface, a cycle repeats. 40, 50, 60 hours a week. Money comes in. Bills and taxes take their share. A small fraction is saved. Then it begins again. This is the slow lane trap. Freedom promised after decades of perfect obedience, if nothing goes wrong. But life rarely moves in straight lines. Layoffs, recessions, medical crises, and shifting industries all wait in the shadows. When your entire life depends on trading time for money, your freedom is fragile. And when you finally see that fragility, the natural question arises: is there another path? But DeMarco also warns about the sidewalk. The sidewalk is the path of spending everything you earn, chasing status, and living for today while borrowing from tomorrow. It can look reckless, but it can also look normal. A person can earn good money, drive a nice car, and still be one emergency away from collapse. The sidewalk is consumption without control. It gives the appearance of freedom in the present, while quietly exposing the future. And this is why the sidewalk and the slow lane are different roads with the same hidden weakness. Neither one gives you true control over your time. The opposite of the slow lane is not gambling. It is not waiting for luck. It is not quitting your job and hoping the universe delivers. It is stepping onto what DeMarco calls the fast lane. The fast lane is not about reckless speed. It is about building wealth that compounds beyond the hours you personally work. It is not get rich easy. It is not a shortcut around effort. It is a harder path at first because it demands skill, risk, execution, and value creation. But it is also the path where the math of wealth finally changes. Instead of asking, "How many hours can I sell?" you begin asking, "What system can I build that solves a real problem for many people?" The fast lane is the choice to create systems, businesses, products, platforms, or assets that separate your income from your time. Imagine two people with the same skill in software development. One takes a job earning $120,000 a year. Every hour is paid for. Every hour must be worked. If they stop, the money stops. The other spends 6 months building a simple tool that solves a pressing problem for a niche audience. At first, nothing happens. Then sales trickle in. One day, the tool earns $500 in a single day, whether they write another line of code or not. The first person is on the slow lane. The second just stepped onto the fast lane because their effort now produces income repeatedly, detached from daily labor. This is the turning point where wealth stops being a wish and becomes a system. Wealth is built when value is detached from personal effort. This is why businesses, products, and scalable assets are the engines of the fast lane. DeMarco calls these systems money trees. A money tree is an asset that can keep producing value after the first work is done. It might be a software system, a content system, a distribution system, a rental system, a product system, or a business that uses people, processes, and technology to serve customers without depending on one person's every waking hour. The point is not that the tree grows without planting. It takes work to build. But once it is rooted, it can bear fruit beyond the moment you are physically laboring. In a traditional career, even a lucrative one, income is capped by time and someone else's approval. Your time becomes the throttle on your life. And the more you see this pattern, the more you realize the real risk is not only in trying the fast lane. The risk is also spending your whole life on a path that never gives you control. The slow lane pretends to be safe. A paycheck feels secure. A 401k feels like a plan. But your entire future hangs on a single source of income and decades of flawless execution. One economic shift, one firing, one personal crisis, and the illusion of safety shatters. Meanwhile, the fast lane feels uncertain at first because it demands ownership and creation. Products can fail. Markets can reject you. Execution can break. Debt can become dangerous. Platforms can change the rules overnight. The fast lane is not safe because it is easy. It becomes safer only when you build real value, real control, and real systems over time. The next question is obvious. How do you actually step onto the fast lane? DeMarco's core advice is to stop thinking like a consumer and start thinking like a producer. Consumers spend, producers create. Consumers hope the market gives them something. Producers shape the market instead. If you study self-made millionaires, you'll see the same pattern. They built or controlled something that served many people. A product, a service, a brand, or a platform. But always, something scalable. The lottery mindset looks for an event. The fast lane mindset builds a process. One waits for a lucky break. The other creates value repeatedly until the market has a reason to respond. So scalability is the heartbeat of the fast lane. If your income can grow without your hours climbing in lockstep, you are in scalable territory. If you must personally deliver every unit of value, you're still bound to the slow lane. A freelance designer must work for every client, every revision. A designer who builds a design tool can sell it thousands of times, even in their sleep. A coach can help one client at a time. A coach who builds a course, a certification system, a platform, or a productized service can multiply the same insight across many people. A scalable system turns effort into a ripple that outlives the moment you created it. DeMarco calls this the law of affection. The more people you affect, at greater scale and with greater value, the greater your wealth potential becomes. To make millions, impact millions. This is why the fast lane is not built around selfish ambition alone. It is built around solving real problems for real people. Money follows value. If there is no need, there is no fast lane. If you help one person, you create limited value. If you help 1 million people, the impact multiplies. And when impact multiplies, wealth has the conditions to multiply with it. But Scalability alone isn't enough. DeMarco shares the commandments of the fast lane, principles that make wealth creation more predictable instead of lucky. He calls them the sense framework: control, entry, need, time, scale, control. If a platform owns your audience or dictates your price, you are exposed. A business entirely dependent on one algorithm, one employer, one marketplace, or one gatekeeper is a house built on sand. Control means owning the road you travel on, or at least understanding how vulnerable you are when someone else owns it. Entry. If anyone can replicate what you offer instantly, competition swallows you. Fast lane opportunities often require skill, effort, insight, capital, courage, or execution that create a natural barrier. Easy entry usually means easy competition. Need. Your product or service must solve a real problem or fulfill a real desire. Many fail because they focus on what they want to sell, not what the market urgently wants to buy. If you build for vanity instead of value, the market is silent. Time. The ultimate measure of the fast lane is whether your system frees your time instead of consuming it. At first, you invest heavily, but in time, the system should give more than it takes. True freedom is not doing nothing. It is having the choice of what to do next. Scale. If your system cannot reach large numbers without matching effort, it cannot escape the slow lane. Think of the difference between walking dogs in your neighborhood and selling an online dog training course that reaches owners worldwide. Scale is what lets value travel farther than your personal labor. Most people never reach this stage. Some never start. Fear and the comfort of normal keep them frozen. Others start but build the wrong way, creating a small business that is just a harder, riskier version of their job. They still trade time for money, now with more stress attached. A business is not automatically fast lane. A side hustle is not automatically fast lane. A product is not automatically fast lane. The fast lane demands you design for value first, scale second, control always, and time freedom as the destination. Once you see this, the world looks different. You notice how most people pour energy into tiny, slow lane optimizations, clipping coupons, waiting for annual raises, while ignoring the engines that actually generate wealth. You notice how get-rich-quick schemes masquerade as fast lane opportunities, but lack any real system. And you notice that the people who quietly build scalable value eventually own more of their time, their money, and their freedom. The ultimate lesson of the Millionaire Fastlane is simple but profound. Wealth is not an event. It is a process of creating systems that solve real problems for real people at scale, so that value can continue flowing to you whether or not you are working that day. When you finally see through this lens, the old promise of waiting 40 years for freedom no longer makes sense. Freedom does not arrive with age. It arrives with ownership, with systems that keep moving, long after you stop. Freedom begins the moment you stop trading all your time for all your income. Today, choose one problem you understand better than most people. Then write one sentence describing a product, service, or system that could solve it for more than one person at a time. That single choice is your first step onto the fast lane. Comment with the problem you chose and the value you could create around it. Like this video, subscribe to Beyond the Books, and share your takeaway. If there's a book you'd like to understand, let us know in the comments. Beyond the Books, where ideas turn into action.